Okay, just going to quickly go through the Sprint eVo to familiarise you on how easy it is to navigate around and show you how to activate some of the functions. First of all, if I explain what all the bits and pieces do, these two here are the temperature ports for differential temperature when you're doing your flow and return readings. Set up bypasses, balancing radiators, etc. You've also got two pressure points on there. On the back, it shows you what it is. So in line there that's a negative pressure, that's a positive pressure, and then your middle port there is for your sample for flue gas analysis or doing CO room tests. On the side here you've got a USB which is used for connecting to a PC or using with a gas leak detection mode. There's your charger point here, and on the back of it you've got your serial number. Clearly shows you when it was calibrated, and obviously you've got a magnetic patch there. And then on the left hand side of the instrument is your infrared window if you're sending your signal to an infrared printer. Now to turn the instrument on, you press and hold the on button for a couple of seconds until you see the blue light, and then take your finger off. And that's you have to hold it down for a few seconds to stop it turning on in the back of the van as you're going along. Then you've got Anton, the telephone numbers, and our website. You can also personalise the analyzer with, let me go back. You can personalise the analyzer with your company name and your telephone number, which you can set into the analyzer yourself, either through the instrument or using the software. And it's got the serial number on the screen as well. And then after a few seconds, that will then go back into the main menu. On the main menu at the top you've obviously got the time and date, and then you've got the calibration due, so it also tells you on the instrument as well as on a calibration label, it will tell you when the calibration is due. So on the main menu, the first one is a test menu. So to select that, basically you use the soft buttons on the side to go up and down to pick what you want. So if we're going to pick test menu, you then press the middle button to go into that. So our test menu, we've got flue gas analysis, we've got pressure menu, differential temperature, CO room safety, and gas escape detection. So if we start with flue gas analysis, normally at this stage you'd be standing outside, so you're purging in clean air. You'd put your analyzer probe, push that in nice and tight on the middle spigot, and then your temperature adapter, you've got a positive and a negative. Make sure that's around the right way. Simply goes on like that. And then you choose flue gas analysis, making sure your probe's in clean air. And then it asks you to confirm that you're in clean air. So we're going to press that now. And now what that's doing is it's going through a stabilising process. That will change in a few seconds from stabilising to zeroing, and it will find the 0 point so that you're ready to continue with your flue gas analysis testing. And that's just your purge symbol on there, which is showing you that it's purging. So that now goes to zeroing, like so, and then it lets you into your flue gas analysis pages. Now what you've got there is you've got flue gas 1. If there's a number on the top of your screen, that means that there's more than one page to do with that particular test that you're in. So if we've got flue gas 1, if I press this button, this is on and off if you hold it down, but it's also turns the pages. So now I've got flue gas 2, you'll now see on the screen if I steady that for you, and if I press it again. Okay, we're now in flue gas page 3, which gives you all your readings on here. Obviously we've got some hashes on there at the moment because we're not doing a live test. You've got your oxygen, CO, CO2 ratio, excess air, temperature and efficiency. And then you've got these 3 buttons on here. This one is for print, this one's actually set for printer. Obviously if you've got a Bluetooth version, that would be a Bluetooth sign there. The disk is a save key, so if I was to save this reading, we simply press save, and it says it's what log it is, it's a flue log, and the date and time, you say yes. It then freezes that on the screen, so you've got log 2 up there, and because of the band on the top means it's frozen, so that now I can pull across a printer and I can print out. Say you want to do 2 printouts, I can do that, and while the readings are frozen on the screen. If I press escape, it then puts me straight back to live readings, and then I'm ready to do a new test. This button, this key here, is changing the efficiency. You've got efficiency net, you've got efficiency gross, and you've got efficiency net HE. for your high efficiency or condensing boilers. Okay, so that's your fluid gas. That's how you set up your fluid gas analysis. Simply put that in the Flue. Normally within about a minute you've got all your readings there. Once they all stabilise out, you save them and then you can print them. Okay, now if I want to go back, all I'm going to do now is I'm going to press escape. A bit like a computer, press escape, gets me back one. Now it's saying to me, replace inspection cap in the Flue terminal. That's just a safety function to make sure that you've done exactly that. You replace the inspection cap into your Flue. So we press escape because let's say we've done that. It gets us back to the test menu. Okay, in the pressure menu now. So the first one on there is let by and tightness test. So again, we press the top middle button to go into that, and then it goes defaults to let by. Now this is where you can look at the back of the analyzer. It shows you which your positive pressure is, which is this one. Most of the kits come with a what we call an Anton pressure relief valve, which helps you to, obviously when you open the gas meter, it helps you to set the desired pressure in there. So we pretend we're on a gas meter. First thing you need to do is put the hose onto the instrument, but have the other end in free air. And then what you need to do is it's got P equals 0. So it's this key here, and it means press to 0. It's a bit like getting your U-gauge water line right. So press that to 0 to atmosphere. Now we can then go and connect that to the meter. When we open the pressure, we'd use that here to get 10 millibars. So if we can imagine that we had pressure on the top line, get your 10 millibar on the top line there, and once your 10 millibar is stabled out, you then press start to start the timer, and then you'll see the bottom, the duration is starting to move. Okay. Now after a minute for let by, you'd press the stop key, so we're pretending we're there now. Press stop and it would say has it passed. So what you do is you look at the top line and that would say 10 millibar. You look at the finished pressure, which should hopefully be 10 millibar as well. The difference in the third line down is the difference between the start and the finish, which will hopefully be 0, and then the duration would be a minute. So you'd say yes, that's passed, and it takes you straight into stabilisation. So at this stage you put the exceed the gas pressure to 20 millibar, which would be on the top line, and then you start it for your temperature stabilisation. So you run that for a minute for your temperature stabilisation. Again, we pretend we're at the end of that minute. Press the stop key and it say has it stabilised. So you'd say okay, it's had its minute, so yes, it's stabilised. You then it automatically goes into tightness now. Now at this stage what you'd want to do is make sure you've got your 20 millibar still on the top line, which so you check that on there. If you need to adjust the pressure again, use this and the gas valve to adjust to get your 20 millibar on that top line, and then you press start, just the same way as we have on the previous two, and then you'd run this bit for a 2-minute period. After 2 minutes you press stop and it say has it passed. So you'd look at the top and it say 20 millibar, finished would be hopefully 20 millibar, and the difference would be 0 point whatever it might be, but hopefully just 0. Your duration would then read the 2 minutes of the period that you've done it for, and then it's asking you if it's passed. So you say yes, that's passed. Now it allows you to either do an instant print, but that means if you do a print and then you escape, you lose the log. Or if you press the disk key, which is the top middle one, press that, and it's saying pressure log. You say yes to confirm. What that'll do is that freeze it on the screen for you, so you can now disconnect it from the gas meter, pull your printer over, or if you're using Sprint mobile, you can zap it across to your tablet by pressing this key here, depending on whether you've got it set for print or Bluetooth. And then if I want to get rid of that, I can then press the delete key here, and that will delete that log. Or if I press escape, it will just leave the log in my memory, in my log memory, which I'll show you in a separate video. Press escape. If I want to get back, press escape again, gets me back to my pressure menu. Now, if you just want to do a quick pressure reading prior to maybe doing an installation, then you can just go down to pressure, go into pressure. Again, before you connect it to the meter or the gas valve, you'd need to 0 it. Then you put it on, get your pressure source. Again, you can adjust it on using that if you like. Your pressure would read on the top line, and your duration is on the bottom, which is simply press start to start the timer. Stops the timer, and then you've got your recognise the rewind key, if you like, or back to 0, and then that gets your duration back to the start point again. So it's a nice simple way. It's just a standard U gauge. You just want to do a quick pressure reading, but you have the timer function there to assist you. If I press escape, and then I go down to differential pressure. This is where you'd have a pressure port out of each one, and this is when you set up fans, etc., and you're looking for a differential pressure reading out of your instrument, and that will give you the difference between the two. And then you've got working pressure, which has a duration on. This also has a print facility, so if you want to prove that you've got the right working pressure or the right operating pressure, which is the next one on the menu structure, you can start that by pressing the timer, which starts the duration. That stops. Obviously you need to zero it the same as you did the last one, but now you've got the print facility, so you can print and prove that the appliance has got the right pressure or it hasn't. Press escape, then you've got operating pressure underneath, which is exactly the same depending on whether you're obviously on an HE appliance or not. That's it for the pressure menu. Okay, next we're going to look at differential temperature on the test menu. So we go to differential temperature, and then we press the middle key to go into there. So we've got flow, return, and the difference. So if we get a couple of temperature probes, put them around the right way into the bottom spigots. On the back of it, on the sticker, it shows you what's the flow and the return. So this one's the flow. So obviously if you look at that now, you see flow and return, and the difference is 0 because they're both the same. If I warm the flow up, you'll see that it's working out the difference for you. If I quickly save that by pressing the save key, temperature log 4, confirm. Again, like all the other tests, it freezes the screen for you. So now if I want to print that, I can pull the printer over, press print, and that's showing me that the flow is 26, the return is 20, and the difference is 6. So nice, easy. You can use it individual if you just want to do an individual temperature. Then if I pull one of those out, if you had any applications like maybe setting up thermostatic valves and you only want to do a single temperature, you can still save just a single temperature, print it out, and then when you print it out, you can always write any references you want on the little printout docket that you get. Okay, thank you. Okay, the next one on the test menu is CO room safety. So again, I've used my up and down key to go into that. I use my middle key to go into there. The pump starts, obviously you have to go for a fresh air purge, just like you do on your flue gas analysis. This we've already done earlier, which is why it's not going through the purge, but you'd normally have to do that and do that outside. You'd normally use your flue probe, and you'd use a tripod which we sell, which will hold the flue probe 2 meters high in a central location of the room, and then the software is written into this. So what you've got to do is you have to pick which appliance you're using. So if we just pick on one of these, which is I don't know if you can see that, you've got boiler, cooker, water heater, space heater, room sealed appliance. So if we pick on boiler open flue and we go into that, what you see on the page here is the CO ppm is the actual reading of CO currently. Then you've got a peak CO, which is the highest level of CO that it's seen so far during the test, and then you've got the allowance on this particular appliance is 10 ppm, and then you have the duration at the bottom. So once this was set up with your flue probe and a tripod, then what you do is you start the test, and that would start the duration. Now you'll notice that there's no stop key, there's no print key. The reason for that is it's got to meet the minimum duration, which on this particular test is 15 minutes. After it's met the minimum duration, you then will be able to look at the details on here and make an informed decision on whether it's a flying pass and the 15 minutes is enough, or whether you need to let it run for the second duration, which basically duplicate the test, so it's doubling up the test to 30 minutes. And the reason you do that is if obviously you'd exceeded the 10 ppm or got extremely close to it and you wanted to let the test run on. Now, obviously I'm not going to wait here 15 minutes until the test finishes, but what you've got is your CO is obviously 0, peak CO, let's say it was at 9 ppm, then you'd be concerned knowing that your allowance is 10, so that's when you'd let it run on for the second duration, second period. If it was at 2 ppm, for instance, and your peak CO was 2, straight away after, as soon as you're allowed to stop it, you'd stop the test and it would naturally, the analyzer would pass it for you. If the readings were unstable or high, let's say for instance it exceeded 30 parts per million while you're doing the test, you don't want to wait 15 minutes to find out that you're over 30 ppm. So it's got like a personal alarm built into it, and it will alarm to tell you that you need to turn the analyzer off and vacate the building. Okay, so I'm just going to press escape to come out of that, and obviously it does ask me, you sure you want to quit the test, because I could be many minutes through and you don't want to waste that time. So I'm going to say yes, and then obviously if I was to go back in the CO room safety and pick another one, same thing applies, you just go down. If I pick up cooker, obviously the allowance is changing that, so you see that's 30 ppm over the set duration of time. And when you do the printout of it, obviously it titles it to whatever appliance that you've picked. So nice and easy. Analyzer basically does the job, and at the end of it, it tells you whether it's passed or failed. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to look at the gas leak detection side of the Anton Sprint eVo. I'm going to go to the test menu, go down one more, gas escape detection. If I go into there and I haven't got the probe plugged in, it will come up and say leak probe missing, please connect leak probe. So it's very intuitive, almost does the job for you. So we'll put that in there now, press that, press escape. Now this will need to be cleared in clean air, just the same as doing a flue gas analysis or a CO build-up test. So this would be zeroed outside, and then you'll see it's got a 30-second countdown. While that's counting down, what you've got here is obviously sensor settling, and then you'll see there's like a gauge counter here, low, medium and high. And in a second, once this is zeroed, I'll be able to show you how that works. What you've got is an audible and visual readout on here, which tells you when you come to a gas leak. So that's going to come in now, that's going to zero, and it says, are you in clean air? Yes, we are. Now you'll hear the beep, and then I've got a lighter here, so if I put a little bit of gas on the end of that sensor, you've got a light there as well, so if you're in polylit conditions, around the back of appliances, under floorboards, it's quite handy to help guide you, so you can see what you're doing. And then obviously you just manipulate that into whatever shape is convenient, and obviously I've got that lead tied up now, but you can open that lead, which will give you a bit more space. And then when the leak is activated, let's focus that back on the screen, and I'll put a little bit of gas on the sensor. So I've got a bit mad there, but what you've got now is it's gone right off the scale, and then that will start to come back down as it zeroes back in fresh air. So you'd run up and down the pipe until, so as you get nearer the leak, obviously that would the pitch would get higher, and as you come away from the leak, it would get lower, and so will it on the gauge there, obviously. And then to escape, press escape, and that gets you back out of that test. Just disconnect it. Thank you. Okay, now we're looking at the main menu. So the top one is test menu, and that takes you to all your different tests. I'm going to press escape. The next one down is fuel options. This is for your flue gas analysis, so you can do LPG, heavy oil, light oil, natural gas, etc., etc. And you just simply use the left and the right hand buttons to scroll up and down, and then pick the desired fuel by pressing the middle key, and it sets it into the analyzer. Next one down is units of measurement. So obviously we're going to pressure. We've got, if you can see that, we've got millibar, pascals, kilopascals, psi's. Again, you just go up and down, pick which units of pressure you want, press the middle button to confirm, and it sets it in. Then you've got temperature, degrees centigrade and Fahrenheit. You've got efficiency. Now this is where you set the efficiency as a default. So if you're doing mainly condensing boilers, you're fitting new boilers all the time, then you set that for net HE, for high efficiency condensing boilers, and it will always default to that. when you're in the Flue gas analysis screen, you can toggle and you can set it from net HE to gross or just to net as you see fit. But this is the default. Next one down, you've got Analyser settings. So you've got auto time out. Now that's basically if you don't use the Analyser for so many minutes, it will turn itself off to save your battery life. Then you've got backlight. Go into there. You can do. You can turn it off. I don't think I've ever received one with it off, but you've got off, you've got dim, or you've got bright. Most of the time they're just on bright. Then you've got key click. You'll notice when if I stop talking for a second, you can notice when I'm pressing the buttons, I'm getting a key click. Which is confirming that you're pressing the key. Some people find that annoying, so you can turn it off. So if you want to turn that, you can disable that, so you don't have that noise. Then if you've got an eVo 3, which this one is, then you've got the report option in here. And the report means that you can toggle between printer, infrared printing option, or Bluetooth if you want to use it with Sprint mobile software. And then underneath that we've got supervisory settings. Now supervisory settings can be protected by a password, which means only the supervisor can change anything in here. So you've got set time and date, you've got edit report header, which is on where you can put your company name and your telephone number in so it prints out on the reports. Print cal due date is a function that you could where it prints out on the bottom of your printout. So in my opinion that should always be on there. You've got Flue CO alarm. If you're in a Flue and it goes above 300 parts per million, it will alarm to show you that it's on the high side. Now, obviously, we know some appliances do operate above 300 ppm, so you can disable that if you don't want that to alarm. And then you've got that's where you'd actually enter your password. And then if you had a password in there, I wouldn't have been able to get into there without putting the password in first. And obviously, the password also protects if your Analyser, God forbid, did get stolen. It means that nobody apart from us would be able to change that password. So your details, your header details, would be in that instrument until the likes of us were to take it out. And that's it for your main menu. Bar the last one, which is stored logs. Go into stored logs. And these are all the logs that you've taken for your test. You can select a log by number. Well, if I just press select a log, is the top one there, and I select that, you've got all your different logs, and it defaults to the top one. If I go find a log by number, and I happen to every time I do a log, I happen to write it on a job sheet or in a diary, I could then go log to search, and it goes straight to that log. Press escape, and then I've got delete all logs, which deletes the whole lot. We've had these up to 300-400 logs, so you're not short of log space. Most people just leave the logs in there until it gets fill up, and then they start overriding. It starts overriding, taking the last log out. So there's plenty of log space in there for you, and that's all of the main menu explained.